Om Shanti, brother and sister, welcome to the story time. And together with our sister, sweet sister. So nothing formal, just a spiritual chit-chat, talking about when senior is with us, especially Didi. Didi, not only the purity is served, Didi is in her coolness and still very firm and able to give us the answer whenever we approach Didi. And you know that Didi will pay full attention to us. Didi concern our spiritual growth. I'm sure Sister Sona also have the opportunity from Australia onward, I would say, until come to the Mathuban time. So let us hear the story from Sister Sona with Didi, Dr. Nirmala, whether it's spiritual sustenance, whether it's pulling our ears and still want us to progress, just like a mother sustaining us, all right? Over to you, sister. Thank you.
Thank you, Om Shanti. And so really, there was no one like Didi, and there will never be anyone like Nirmala Didi. She was one of those unique souls in the Yajna who can never be replaced. And once I heard some senior complained about Didi to Daddy Janki. And you know what Daddy Janki replied? Of all the RCs, Dr. Nirmala is the best. Why? She's the cleanest, she's the purest. I never forget that. And really, my own experience with her is, Baba's name for her is Nirmal Ashram. And she was very, very clean. So let's go through some questions. You have some questions to ask me, and that will stimulate some chit-chat.
All right.
I can explain a bit more about her through that.
I'm sure all of us would like to know how Sister Sona come to knowledge and how Didi holding her hand until now, even in the abyak form, when?
Well, actually, I came to Gyan in India, in a city in North India called Chandigarh. That was in 1987. But I only met Nirmala Didi in 1994 when I moved to Australia. So, the roots of my taking Gyan definitely were in Bharat. But when I went to Australia, Sydney has always been quite a strong hub, like the national coordinating office for Australia, but also the regional office for Asia, because Didi was based there. So my first interaction with Didi was actually when I used to go to the center and I was redoing the course. And Didi never said much, as you know, but she would observe everyone coming and going. And when sometimes we would be up very late asking questions. The course was supposed to go 7:30 to 8:30, sometimes 9:30, 10 o'clock. Didi would knock on the door and say, "Now go home." This is not Gyan, this is just general chit-chat. But really we were asking questions, but still, she had such accuracy with time as well, Even if you're talking about Gyan Yoga, there's still a place and a time for it. So I remember, I knew that at some point, if I crossed 9 o'clock, Didi would be there waiting for me to leave. So that was how I started my connection with Didi. But also my aunt, my father's sister, had come to Gyan, I think 1985, 86. And so she lived in the UK. So Nirmala Didi knew her. So because Nirmala Didi knew that connection, she always had a little soft spot for me. That okay, she has family, plus my mother and father were in Gyan.
That is your fortune.
Yeah. So she had a little bit of a soft spot, but still, I also got my ears pulled quite a few times.
That's good. And we know that Didi, sometimes she is very strict on us, but especially when she read the Murli, in the Murli class, she can be very jovial. And we all enjoy that. I'm sure you have that experience too. If you could share, and that is really inspire brother and sister will be talking about, Lisa Murli will be like this. Huh? Yeah.
You know, there were many sides to Didi. On the one hand, she was like an army general. Very, very disciplined, self-disciplined, but then strict. But the strictness wasn't because she wanted to hurt anyone. The strictness was really because she wanted you to progress. And she could very clearly see where the soul was stuck. And Didi's big issue was around attachment. If she saw that you had attachment for anyone, that was it. She wouldn't leave you until she made sure that was broken. At least she told you that she knew and she had her eye on you. So you really had to work on yourself. And a simple thing, you know, once we had gone from Sydney to Melbourne for a Centre Wasi meeting. There's the retreat center there. And it finished on Sunday. So most people left on Sunday. Mohit Bhai had work on Monday. So he said, let me do my work in the morning. We fly back Monday evening. I said, fine. And Didi found out that I was spending 1 day extra. She said, look at your attachment. You can't even take a flight on your own. Little things like this, you know. She wouldn't miss tiny things. She was so clever. But one thing that I really appreciate is she wanted to have a personal relationship with everyone. She wanted you to go and see her. You know, she didn't like it that a student was too scared to meet her, or you were hiding something so you wouldn't see her, you know. Once I remember I took a break from the center, and a few of us, I think we had gone to for a little break somewhere. And she found out. But we told Charlie bye. Charlie bye was a bit softer. So we said, okay, we're going away for the weekend, and then we'll come back. Oh, Baba. When she found out, she was like, why didn't you tell me? So of course I tried to say, but we told Charlie bye. She said, that was not me. So she didn't want us to go through anyone. She wanted a direct connection because she knew, she was so sharp, and she knew that through the energy of the soul, she could tell what was going on. You couldn't lie to Didi. She was so truthful, so pure. You had absolutely no chance to say something untruthful in front of her. If you even tried to go a little bit round and round, she would catch you.
That is where Didi, because of the purities, her intellect will be so sharp in such a way that she don't have to speak a lot of words. She will be just a few words to us, but it really touches us. And for that, it helps us to progress. We don't have to hide anything from Didi.
No. Actually, another thing about her was she might have been strict, but her intellect was very clean, which means she never held on to your weaknesses. You know, I always talk about non-stick intellect, no? She might shout at you even 1 minute, really be strict and a little bit angry, tell you off. The next minute she'll say, do you want to lead meditation? You think, I thought I was in your bad books. And then suddenly it became okay. So she never held on to your weaknesses. It's finished. It's over. She played her part. She said what she had to say. Om Shanti. Now work on yourself and move on. And she had moved on. She didn't keep your weakness with her. In fact, once she told me that when such situations came, she would send special Sakash to that soul after Amrit Vela, or during the end of Amrit Vela. If there'd been some conflict, some difficulty between her and someone, she had such a power of letting go. And then also trying to heal the wound. She realized she just had to play the part of being strict. If she didn't, who would do it? Nobody had the courage. In English we say, to call a spade, meaning to be really truthful and honest about a situation. Most of us don't want to defame someone. We don't want to, talk about the situation directly, or so you try to just say, oh no, it'll be fine, everything is okay. No, Didi was very straight. The other side of Didi was, like you mentioned, she was very jovial. She had a side of her that loved comedy, cultural programs, especially Australia. They were quite happy, funny people, and they always had lots of entertainment, dressing up and silly dances, and she loved all of that. And she would take part very happily.
Yes, we can see that.
Sometimes we would be scared that she wouldn't fall off the chair because she laughed so much. I remember my first few months in Australia. We had, it might have been Australian National Day or something, one Aboriginal sister who is a BK, she taught us Aboriginal dance. In that somebody had to be a crocodile on the floor, and it was very kangaroos and koala bears and Aboriginal people with their leaves like this. And in the Murli room, there was hardly any place between the front row and Didi, and there was about 10 of us dancing. And I was, of course, the simplest thing, which was, take a branch and just do like this everywhere. Didi laughed so much that day. She had tears going down her eyes. And I looked at her and I thought, just see how purity actually means lightness. Purity doesn't have to be like a priest, so solemn. She knows when to be strict, but she knows when to have fun. And the third side of Didi, which very few people really knew about, and even I wasn't exposed so much to it in Australia, was her deep care for people. If she knew you didn't have something, she would go out of her way to ask. I remember, and I don't even know the full story, but I know there was somebody who had given a lot to Baba financially, but then they went through some hardship. Every time the soul had to fly for seva, she would use her frequent flyer points to help that soul. She knew. She would ask, is it okay? Do you have enough? If no, we want to have you in the meeting. Use my frequent flyer points. Somehow she managed it. Even in Madhuban, Brother David, So he's so surrendered, really, to live in India. It's so different for him, the food, the culture. Whenever anybody would give Didi extra fruit, some fruit she couldn't eat because she's diabetic, and so she would ring David, because she knew David loved fruit. Even salad and things like that. Sometimes even strawberries from the garden. She didn't like them because they were a bit sour. So she would call Brother David and give. And same with others who she knew had diet issues or whatever. She would always make sure that she cared for others. During COVID, I was very lucky. There was not many people for her to give. I was there for 7 months, locked down with her. So every time somebody gave some special Gujarati snacks, they would give like a bag full, right? And that time there was no going out to the market to buy anything. I couldn't even get a juice or nothing. and you're just stuck, for 7 months in Gyan Sarovar. So she used to really share everything she got with me. And it just made it so special. Last thing about Didi, her quality of appreciation. This is something I only learnt during COVID, because I was doing her emails. Of course, it's very confidential, but whenever somebody did something or sent her service news during COVID, that we are trying to do this, we are doing that, some people were even sending extra money to Madhuban, because we all knew that, souls are not coming, Madhuban had to manage. Every time she would appreciate the soul. She would say to me, see how much this one loves Baba. See how much this one is doing for Baba. I never saw that side of Didi in my younger days in Australia. I saw her care. I saw how much she really appreciated people through her actions, but verbally. Have you ever got appreciation directly from Didi? Anyone? You'd be very lucky. No, she ever said to you, very, very good, you've done very well, well done, thank you. Rarely she would say these things, because she knew it was between you and Baba. And she didn't want you to do something for the sake of appreciation. Even this is a subtle maya, no? So she was very pure. But during COVID, every day, so many emails would come, and she just would talk so beautifully about this one, that one, the other one, from the whole of her region. And that's when I noticed that she does appreciate. It's for our good, our benefit, that she doesn't praise us, so we get attached to her.
Okay, Om Shanti. Then we will say Om Shanti Didi. Actually, for Malaysia family, one of the brother, if all of us know Brother Chiu, the Didi is caring in such a way that when Didi came to Malaysia, the Brother Chiu, maybe you will know him also. So Didi would not say any words, just say that, come, follow me. So Didi brought the brother to the tailor shop and exactly prepare one set of Didi for the brother. So the brother of course get a shock at that. Didi, really touches the heart in such a way that Didi will be just observe, okay, the cloth that you have been doing Baba service, tirelessly, and every time when Didi came, so Didi look at Brother Chiu will be say, okay, this one need to have a new set of clothes. So Didi didn't say much, just brought him along to the tailor shop and do the complete set of that. It really touches the soul of that. So this is how Didi, with the Mother Nature, and of course with the so-called, just now Sister mentioned, military, very powerful mother at home. I remember Didi did share that the younger time, during her time with Baba also, at that time when Mount Abu, the military coming back, so during the winter time, Didi will prepare, she will do it herself, like doing the shop, the stocking, all these sort of things for the army. She prepared it and she know that this batch, the army coming back will be about 300 of them. She will prepare 300 and then send to the train station. When the army all landed on the touchdown Mount Abu train station, then of course Didi will not stand there to distribute, someone will do that. So when Didi shared this with me, I said, of course to her, Didi said, I'm a doctor at that time. In her mind will be, I'm just a doctor. It's not like doing the spiritual service. So that story touches me is Didi externally will be very strict, and anything that have to be very honest with her, inside her heart, she's very soft. Anything happen to the student, or whether you are far away from Matuban, one way or another, suddenly you will receive a call from Didi just asking, how are you? Are you a center? Then we have to reply, yes, I'm okay. Then from your voice, then she know that you're not okay. So that is a soft side. Maybe Sister Sona can share in terms of the knowledge side or the spiritual sustenance, that how Didi really give her full time for all of us. Maybe from your experience also.
You know, Didi never spoke a lot during the Murli. You know, she never expanded too much. Even after the Murli, you hear her churnings, they were pretty simple. Isn't that right? Those of us who know her, she didn't go on and on and on talking. She was the opposite of Dadi Janki. Janki Dadi, if you remember, sometimes if Murli was half an hour, Dadi Janki's class was more than that. No? So, Nirmala Didi had really no interest in taking people away with so much churning from Baba's basic Murli. But she was very good at applying Gyan to practical situations. That's why I noticed, especially when I was doing her emails, she was very good at using Gyan to find a solution. Very sharp. Whether it was through email, even when you went to meet her. You know, plus she had a very big region. I think it's the biggest region actually. Asia plus Australia plus New Zealand plus Fiji plus Pacific Island. It's a huge region. So she knew if you had something to give but this other place needed it. She had a very, very broad mind. She would not just say this country keeps their resources for themselves, or no. That way she sustained everyone very practically through the application of Gyan. Not necessarily through words and, you know, a lot of churning. That's my feeling.
That is something practical for all of us. That is how Didi helped us to have a deep love for Murli. Would be just like Baba bring the Murli point through her. That is her purity. Especially when Didi in Matuban read the Murli, it's as if all of us be able to absorb the Murli point and able instantly like understand the Murli point. Maybe sister now will go from Australia to Matuban. Matuban time, of course, say maybe before COVID time or after COVID time, every time we have the Zoom session, like the Q&A for all the family. So sister will be the one maybe just answer the Q&A and telling Didi that or this, then Didi answer that. What would be your experience of that?
Again, you know, Didi's answers were very short. So I had to find ways to make her engage. So I remember actually my partner for those programs was Pure Bai. In fact, I should say Pure Bai was the organizer for the whole of Asia. He would organize the topic. He would organize which country was going to give the questions. He would organize the Zoom link and make the flyer. Everything Pure Bai would do. I would just look after Didi and what was happening on stage. And so she would take the questions and she would write all the answers first. She liked to be organized and, you know.
So she write the answer herself.
She would write the answers and she would read out the question and read out the answer. And that was the beginning, you know. Then after that, it would be open to anybody who wanted to ask. And the brother in the sound area, in front of the computer, he would WhatsApp the good questions to me. So then I would have my phone and I would be collecting the questions and asking Didi. But I really had to extract, you know, information out of her and make it entertaining even for her. But then it was good because especially during COVID time, there were so many questions about what to do. And every country has its own rules and regulations, and every place had a different circumstance. So, keeping it light helped to engage Didi. Otherwise, just do this, don't do that, that's it. So the other thing is, during COVID, I used to go to her room every evening, after dinner, 8 o'clock. And for 1 hour, we would watch the news together. And we would share amongst ourselves. Because both of us have different connections in the Brahmin family. She was more connected with Asia, I was more connected with Australia, Europe, South America. So she was also connected with those areas. So she would tell me whatever she heard, and I would tell her whatever I heard. So one country started to do home delivery for bhog on Thursdays, and another country started to leave bhog hanging on the center's door or the gate, so people could come and collect it. So all these new ways and she used to appreciate how the Brahmin family were really trying to support each other. I don't know if it was Singapore or where it was, where different people would take bhog for their whole area and distribute on the train or the metro or the tram, whatever. So in that way, we would share and we would talk about how much Baba's children kept things alive and how much we cared for each other in such a difficult time. It was good. And also we had a few people stuck in India, some double foreigners stuck in Bombay, some stuck in Delhi, and it was very hard for them. Very, very hard. So then she really was helping to get them out of the country. And it wasn't easy. And she was so bothered, so caring, She would be ringing 3-4 times a day. One small group, I don't know if it was Malaysia was involved or not, they got stuck in Bombay airport. You were there? And how to get them from the airport to the center. I think ultimately they sent an ambulance or something to get you, right? Because only the ambulance could go and pick up people. You couldn't send a normal car. So she was so concerned. What are they going to eat? Do they have water? She was trying to get information. So it might seem like she was a little bit reserved and all, but she cared so deeply for each one.
All right. That is the touching part of it, caring. With Didi in charge of the Gyan Sarovar, is when, sister, you are with Didi, do you observe the role that Didi play as compared to the role that she played in Australia? Is there any so-called transformation, or it could be the changes, or it could be certain situation or thing happen in such a way that she really have the courage to really take the responsibility of that? Maybe you could share. That is inspire all the Baba service instrument in Malaysia, talking about, yes, Didi will be taking that. What are we doing that? Compare with that, okay?
Actually, Didi spent many years overseas, And when she left India, then she went back to India. The yagya had changed in India. And to be very honest with you, it was a shock for Didi. She was very used to the foreign Brahmins, double foreigners, who are very honest, very straightforward, very obedient. And nobody in the foreign yagya, as far as I know, it's not a regular sanskar that there's corruption. Who wants to steal from Baba's box? You don't hear of these things in foreign yagya. When she went back to India, the yagya had expanded so much. Not just Madhuban, but the whole yagya. And when something expands, it's different. I honestly think Didi went through culture shock. It wasn't easy for her to go back and see the yagya so many decades later. And you know, whenever something becomes so big, the quality, the attention, the care gets lost. You know, for our centers, regular day-to-day center, how many students? 50, 60, 70, 100 even. There are not many places in the world where you have more than 100 people on a daily basis. But in India, when you have 500 in morning class, you don't have the time to talk to the student-teacher relationship. It's, you know, there's no personal interaction as much. Whereas for us, usually center coordinators are like a friend, a senior brother, senior sister, but you can talk to them. It is very different in India. So what happens then is, you know, I really feel that attention is not there and souls don't progress as much. So it wasn't easy for Didi to adjust. Plus, Didi had become very like a foreigner. She went back, and even in Gyan Sarovar, you know, they had been through a difficult time. Dadi Chandramani left the body, then Dadi Manohar left the body. And then, you know, like one after another, there had been so many changes. And so suddenly Didi came, and Didi's personality was also quite strict. And so even there, it wasn't easy, the adjustment. Then Didi changed a lot. She became more and more detached. More and more just the advisor. You come to me when you need help, I'll give help. But not like the foreign countries where she sees something, she can say easily, you know, what are you doing here, how are you doing this? She felt very open and easy with us. Even if she told us off a little bit, she knew we would love her. And we understood her intention. I really feel in India it was different for her.
That is why Baba developed another strength, the inner strength that Didi have, that will be very detached and still very loving. Yeah? All right. So can we move to the last moment that Didi have now with all of us? You have the time with Didi. For me, will be, I still can remember, because at that time the Peace of Mind guest from Kuching will be going to Mathuban. And I messaged to Didi. Then within 5 minutes, Didi replied me and say, okay, I will meet them. Then of course, then after that, I called Didi instantly and asked Didi, are you okay? How is your health? Then she spoke to me in very cool and calm, very calm manner. She said that sometimes it come back, sometimes I'm very good. So when she's telling me like that, I in my heart I say, okay, then it means progressing. To me, I feel it's progressing. Then the next day, Peace of Mind guest arrived Mathuban, and then late evening, she still meet the Peace of Mind guest, still give toli and blessing on that. But that batch of the Peace of Mind guests, some of them from Kuching, that's why Sister Lily and the lucky husband and the about 20, I think, from Kuching reserve was there, they are there. They are really fortunate. They feel that they're looking at Didi will be something is very different, and then the light, they feel that because to them they still don't have Baba knowledge, but when they receive the toli and the blessing from Didi, they feel the touch in such a way, it's so light. Light means even the hand is also so light. But of course for us, some of us observe her hand is shaking already. So maybe sister, you can share how Didi really serve until the last moment, and what we learn from her.
Actually, I met Didi in September, 1 month before Peace of Mind. By chance, I was there to get something printed for the double foreign season. So I got to spend 5-6 days there, because I'm very close to Madhuban, just 2.5 hour flight. so easy for me to go to India. And I asked her, when should I come back? And I told her this is when the group will come, and so we arranged the day that I should go back. And then I heard when I went back to Abu Dhabi that she went for some nature cure, which was just to help her body, but it didn't suit her. And also I think they might have asked her not to take some medication. They thought it's good, but actually it didn't work. It made her body more unstable. So the unique thing is, on her way to back home to Gyansarovar, she stopped in Shantivan to meet Munniben. And she has never done that before. Even Munniben was surprised. She rang from on the way, saying, Munniben, are you there? I'll stop and see you.
At that moment, she is still very alert.
Yeah, she was alert, she was okay. But Munniben asked her, how is your health, Nirmala Didi? You went for this nature cure. She said, I'm not good. She said, I'm worse than when I went. So by the time I reached, she already had met the Peace of Mind guests. The next morning, 2nd October, was her birthday. And actually she asked Suresh Bhai in Dadi's cottage, Suresh, what have you got? What can I give all the Nivasis for my birthday? So he took out some chocolates. And so she was actually in the middle of distributing chocolates when she just couldn't anymore. So for me, it's like the story of Mama and her grapes. You know, the last thing Mama did was to distribute the grapes, and Didi distributed chocolates to at least half the Nivasis, and then she couldn't anymore. Then they took her to hospital. And so by the time I arrived, Didi had gone to hospital. And I wanted to meet her, but everybody said, don't go because she's in ICU. Not good to have so many people go to ICU. So I thought, okay, let her get better. And the only reason I wanted to go is I knew, because I knew from COVID days when she also went to hospital to get a pacemaker put in, her only interest is, give me my phone, let me check my emails. And then what she would do is I would take her phone and I would read the email and she would dictate the answer. And I would be replying to her emails and her WhatsApp messages. And then she was peaceful. So this is what I used to do during COVID. I would go to hospital twice a day, do her emails, and then go back to Gyansarovar. So I wanted to go, but I knew nobody will do this. So let me go and at least clear, because she feels good, no? People are waiting for responses, but I couldn't go because they really were saying, no, we don't want her to work. She needs quiet. Then I heard that she was transferred to Ahmedabad. So that was also a little bit shocking. I thought, why? And they said to transfer her, they had to put her on the ventilator because they were scared that she would not be able to breathe. And that was pretty much the end, really, because once you're on a ventilator, you're not breathing for yourself. The machine is breathing for you, no? And then a few times, even in Ahmedabad, she would tell Sister Sangeeta, no, her helper, we could take this ventilator away. And Sangeeta Ben would say, no, Didi, we can't. You cannot breathe on your own. So then
Her stage, maybe you can share about her stage at that moment.
Well, I didn't meet her. Mm-hmm. I met her at her last moment when she left the body. I was in the room in front of her. But I know Charlie Bai went to meet her. I don't know if any of you were there, but we all signed a very big card. And everybody wrote on the card, and Charlie Bai took the card to show her. At that time, she was still conscious. And she saw the card, and she smiled. And Charlie Bai said, we are waiting for you to come back. Get well soon. Anyway, then there was a little bit of unsurety whether she should be brought back, whether she would survive the journey back, because they had to, take her off the dialysis machine. Some people were saying, keep her there, It's difficult to know what to do, right? If she's going to leave the body, should she leave the body in Madhuban? Should she come to Global Hospital? So many questions. none of us could do anything. We were waiting for Yagya to make decisions. But at least the heart was beating. Ventilator was going, dialysis was going. Then one day before she left the body, they were feeding her through the tube. When they removed the tube, they realized that everything has started to hemorrhage inside, because the tube had blood on it. So then the doctor said, this is basically, there's nothing else we can do. So that time, Sister Meera and myself, Sister Suman from Gyansarovar, and one Sister Gayatri from Mauritius, the four of us had not been to meet her. So the word was going around, if anyone wants to meet Didi, go now. And everybody else had made a trip. And I was quite busy with the double foreigners, but I decided I have to go. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I must go and meet her. So we left at 4 or 4:30 in the morning. Of course, it's quickest time to go down. Must have arrived by 8:30. And even in the last half an hour in the car, Didi's driver, Brother Lenin, was saying, where are you? Come fast. So, come fast, why? So we arrived, and that morning, after 2 days, Didi opened her eyes. Because for 2 days she was non-responsive. Her eyes were closed. But that morning she opened her eyes. But she was not conscious. So because they didn't want the eyes to dry out, they had closed the eye and put some tape on the eyes. So when I saw that, I couldn't take it. I was like, what are you doing? Why are they doing this? She's here. And they said, no, it's not good to keep the eyes open. They'll become very dry. So anyway, we sat, we had yoga, Meeraben, myself. And then a lot of the seniors were there. Sister Vedanti's elder sister, and Santosh Ben from Maharashtra, who was on the management committee with Didi. And a lot of the senior sisters from Gujarat were there. So they said, let's go for breakfast. And I thought, how can you leave her like that and go for breakfast? The situation is so fragile. And I even was thinking, should I go or not go? Sister Suman stayed back with some of the Gyansarovar Nivasis. But they said to me, come, we go for breakfast. They were very light. So I said, okay. So we went and we had proper good breakfast. Really, because it was about 10 o'clock by then. And just as we finished breakfast, we got the call, come fast. So they had made a decision that they should now switch the ventilator off because, the body was deteriorating. So the first car left with Santosh, Didi and the seniors, and then second car, I was in that car. They reached just a few minutes before us. So when I entered ICU, and we had a special private room for Didi in ICU, already there must have been 20 people around Didi's bed. And they had taken the tape off her eyes. So her eyes were open. And so there's Didi's bed. And then Santosh Ben was standing as close as could be. And then there was Sangeeta Ben, Brahmini, and then me. And mostly Gyansarovar brothers and sisters were on the other side. And I noticed Didi, even in that state, she left this world as a king, as a master. She was giving drishti to Santosh Didi. And I could feel it. She left as a master. Even in the last few minutes, you could just feel the two of them exchanging drishti. And then I felt Didi's drishti go around the whole room. Her eyes didn't move, but you could feel the drishti, acknowledging each one. Then Didi's eyes, to me, it seemed like they just moved to the center. They were just slightly looking at Santosh Ben, just maybe 2 millimeters to the center. His eyes still open. And I felt at that moment, Didi traveled and said goodbye to all the Brahmin family everywhere. And so 1 minute I was looking at Didi, the next minute I was looking at the machine. By then they had unplugged the ventilator. It's the first time in my life that I have seen the soul leave the body. Then I looked at Didi, then I would look at the machine, because I didn't know what to expect. And I noticed that the oxygen level was falling little by little. So I thought, we have time. And at one point, I looked at Didi and I knew the soul is gone. She left. And you know how Baba said there is just dead silence? It's like an energy is pulled away and there is like a vacuum. And that vacuum creates silence. And I knew Didi has gone. Her eyes were open. And maybe 10, 20, 30 seconds after that, the oxygen machine dropped. The oxygen level dropped and then it started to beep. And the alarm went. So she left as a master. Even matter could not beat her. After 2 days of being unconscious, she opened her eyes. And Dr. Banarasi, who was there as well, he said it's the only time he has seen a Brahmin leave with their eyes open. So special was our Didi.
Even at the last moment, still do Baba service and give the so-called back to the team of the retreat, power the Sakash to all the soul. That is the stage that Didi show a very good example for all of us. Huh? Yeah. All right. So we will end the story.
Can I tell one last story?
Okay. Yes.
Oh, you want to hear? It was on the last day when we offered bhog. You know how we offer bhog every day for 13 days? It's just a custom in India. So on the last day they offered bhog. I think on the first or second day of offering bhog, Didi came in the body of the trance messenger. But at that time she just gave drishti to everyone. So that was fine. Now on the last day of offering bhog, what happened was when the bhog song was playing, Sister Suman asked me, can you go to translate the message? It was a sister from Varanasi, who we don't know, but an Indian trance messenger, Indian sister. I said, okay, I'll go. So I was sitting in the booth, translation booth, to translate the message. And of course Didi came. And I was sitting in the booth, and when the eyes opened, I have never in my life felt what I felt that day. It was like these power beams of love. The purest, unconditional love I have ever felt. And sitting in that booth, I remember looking like this thinking, who is this? Which soul has entered? This is not Dr. Nirmala. Didi's energy was different. This was the strongest, purest love I have ever felt in my entire life. I felt only when Baba used to come. And that too for some time. And so I ran down. I thought, I'm not missing this. Whoever it is, I want to go and see. So then, everyone started to file past to get drishti. So from the back of the stage, I joined the queue. I was totally mesmerized. Baba says completely the intellect was pulled. And so the person in front of me, there was a whole group of hospital nurses, the sisters. So I thought, okay, I'll go with them, because otherwise it was all the Gyan Sarovar brothers. So I was the last, after the last nurse. So the nurse before me, Sister Rupa, she had cared for Didi a lot, and she was the head nurse in the hospital. So somebody gave Didi a flower and said, Didi, Sister Rupa cared for you a lot, give her a flower. So she did. So I watched her give the flower. Still, I was asking myself, this doesn't feel like Didi. This is such pure, powerful, divine love. Is it Didi? Is it not Didi? I couldn't tell. And then my turn. So Didi put her hand out. And I'm thinking, but she doesn't have a flower. So what's she going to give me? But I thought maybe she kept a leaf in her hand. I'll get the leaf or something, So I put my hand out like this, thinking, oh, whatever she gives is fine. And Didi put her hand out and held my hand. And in that moment, you know how Baba says, nazar se nihal, meaning to take someone beyond. I don't remember anything except being in this bubble of pure love. It was the most amazing experience of my entire Brahmin life. Of course, then I had to go back to the booth, and Didi spoke some words. And when she spoke, she said, Baba asked me, do you want to go down to say goodbye? And I said, yes, Baba. And she told Baba, Baba, you come with me, you meet them through the eyes, and I will speak a few words. What an amazing experience. I don't know, this was Didi and Baba, I don't know. But one thing that I do know is that Didi had reached her Karmatit stage. And Didi had become Bap Saman. That's why this energy, this vibration, this pure love was something I'd never felt before from her.
That is really not just amazing, but it's an experience. It's really an experience which will carry with you and you can share with many. That is the inspiration. I remember Didi, before we end, I remember Didi said that when you mentioned about the Karmatic stage, she served, I remember at one time when went to Mathuban and went to meet Didi, and the advice that Didi gave would be, Amvit Vela time. Go and talk to Baba and tell Baba, I want to experience Karmatic stage. That is the advice that Didi want of us to really, not to say just opportunity, it's your right. And Didi is so firm in such a way that at her age or her last moment, she will just continue to do that. It's good that you share with us, this is become real. That is how it comes. Okay? So we end the story. So we have 1 minute of silence. Deep from our heart, not just the love to Didi and Baba. Actually, Didi have set a very good practical example for us. Brahmin life is simple, but Brahmin life really bring a lot to us. It's abundant, not just experience what we have received from Baba. So, thank you. Okay,
thank you, sister, for the lovely questions and just the chit chat. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Family, okay.
Family chit chat.
Yes. So let us have silence.
से छलके प्यारो बाबा, नैनों से छलके प्यार, पाए है सुख संसारो बाबा, पाए है सुख संसार। निर्मल निर्मल किरणें आती, भाल पे है भाग्य सजाती, तिलक लगाती, सदा विजय का शक्ति अनोखी है भर जाती। प्यार से रहे निहारो बाबा, प्यार से रहे निहार। नैनों से छलके प्यारो बाबा, नैनों से छलके प्यार। पाए है सुख संसारो बाबा, पाए है सुख संसार। ऐसे पल फिर कब आएंगे, कल्प भर में ना पाएंगे। प्यास बुझा ले युगों युगों की, जन्म सफल हो